This video shows you the basics for using sutura. For complete instructions, refer to the printed user guide. Sutura is used during endoscopic surgery to place interrupted or running stitches in soft tissue. The device consists of a shaft and a handle. The shaft contains 19 threaded anchors. The handle contains a trigger, a knob for rewinding thread, and a mode lever. The device has two modes: suturing mode for deploying anchors, and tightening mode for pushing an extracorporeal slip knot. Let's get to know sutura. When the device is in suturing mode, the shaft can slide back until the needle insertion mark is fully covered by the handle, and the needle at the shaft end is exposed. Be careful not to hold the device near the shaft end to avoid contact with the needle. In suturing mode, the thread can be pulled out from the shaft. By rotating the knob, the thread is rewound back into the shaft. Do not turn the knob against the direction of the arrows. Doing so may cause the thread to jam in the device. Now set to tightening. The shaft is locked. The needle is not exposed, and the needle insertion mark is not covered by the handle. In tightening mode, the thread cannot be pulled out from the shaft. However, the thread can be rewound into the shaft by turning the knob in the direction of the arrows. The device can be used to deploy anchors in running or interrupted stitches, followed by tying an intracorporeal or extracorporeal slip knot using standard laparoscopic tools and methods. To suture, set to suturing. Make sure the end of the suture thread is always knotted into a loop. This prevents the thread from sliding out of the anchor. After inserting the device through the appropriate laparoscopic port, make sure that the device is set to suturing, and then press the shaft firmly against the target area. Make sure that the handle fully covers the needle insertion mark. Remember, maintain firm pressure on the tissue while squeezing the trigger. Insufficient pressure may result in shallow or no penetration of the anchor into the tissue. For additional sutures, repeat the previous step. Make sure that the device is set to suturing, and then press the device firmly into the tissue and squeeze the trigger while maintaining pressure. You can release more thread by pulling the device away from the target site, or rewind excess thread by turning the knob in the direction of the arrows. When finished suturing, remove the device from the port. The device can be used as a knot pusher when tying an extracorporeal knot. To tie an extracorporeal knot, use a laparoscopic grasper to pull the thread out of the same port. Using the free end of the thread as a tail and the thread exiting from the device's shaft as a post, tie a unidirectional extracorporeal slip knot. Now, set to tightening. Place the thread on the black mark at the end of the shaft. Place the cap on the tip of the shaft, aligning the cap slit with the thread and the black mark on the end of the shaft. Then, insert the cap firmly into the shaft. Be careful not to pinch the thread between the cap and the shaft. Now pull the thread firmly into the slit of the cap. The thread should be centered in the cap slit. While still in tightening mode, turn the knob in the direction of the arrows to rewind the thread. While turning the knob, pull the device away to maintain light tension on the two thread limbs, while the knot is pushed toward the target site. Continue turning the knob to approximate the tissue. Now, set to suturing. Remove the device from the port. And cut the thread using scissors, leaving enough slack to avoid losing the thread within the shaft. Now, while still in suturing mode, push the shaft towards the handle to remove the cap. Be careful to avoid contact with the needle. The cap may be reused for additional tightening during the procedure. To deploy additional anchors, Repeat the above steps until the tissue is sutured. Before starting a new stitch, make sure that there are enough anchors left in the device. When the indicator points to 0, squeezing the trigger jams the device. To make an intracorporeal knot, first make sure that there is a loop knot at the thread's distal end. Next, deploy running stitches in a Z pattern. Using a laparoscopic grasper, tie an intracorporeal knot over the last anchor location. Maintain tension on the thread. Then remove the device from the port and use scissors to cut the thread.